Well, should we just get going?
Yeah, I really liked saying a little prayer. That felt really good last time. So if you just want to set the intention into a little prayer, that'd be nice.
We invite everybody to enter into your heart space. To be calm. Because this is a very special space for us to be able to share this story and something that has been a landmark in our lives, taking on the responsibility and the challenge of home birthing our son with no assistance, and also going through the pregnancy without medical assistance. It's been a very beautiful journey, and we want to keep it sacred like that. That's also one of our intentions of sharing this with you guys. So, God, we thank you that we have this time right now, that we're free, where we can meet with our friends, where we can record this story, which has so much power in it, so much freedom and liberation. And there are many stories like this one. And this one is ours. And it's ours to share with the people who are in our life. So we are very grateful for all of the connections that have brought us to this place, to this day where we are, for our family and our friends and perfect strangers who have held us close to their heart and helped us to arrive here. I ask that our intention be pure and that it can come through to share what this has been for us. And my hope is that it will inspire you, the viewer, to also follow your intuition, follow that guidance that is inside of you, and to be brave, to be valiant, even through the fears and the unknown, to take that step of faith. And here we are, and so it is. Aho.
Welcome, welcome. Thank you for being here, for taking the time. Yeah, I guess maybe we can turn it like that. That's perfect. He's happy right now. We had a long nap today, so probably going to be up for a while. Oh, well, welcome. Hello, Mom and Dad, Louise and Steve, Sam. Well, after our experience the other day, we decided today we'd just jump right into it. Jump right into this storytelling. We already have had a home birth with Cosmos 2 years ago, almost 3. And it was a beautiful experience that we're so grateful to have gone for. I want to thank my mom and Louise as well, my mother-in-law, because they kind of left it to no question about it, just no question about it. I'm so grateful for that inheritance, because my mom had 7 kids, and the last one is the one that she decided to birth at home. And previously she didn't know about the option to birth at home. So she birthed the rest of us in hospital, vaginal birth, but at the hospital. And after the last one, which I got to witness at 10 years old, she said, had I known this was an option, I would have done them all, had them all like that. And that was enough for me. And Aaron's mom birthed 9 kids, a few of them at home. So it was just a no question. And why I'm so grateful is because, like my mom, so many women, so many people don't even know that it's an option. We spoke to some friends the other day, and he said, yeah, it wasn't like, for me, normalcy was hospital birth, most likely C-section in the hospital. And yeah, for us, I'm so glad we were able to take that route without much thought. Sure, tell them how it was for you that we decided that. I told it last time.
Yeah, so with Cosmos, we had him at home, and we had a beautiful midwife who was helping us. She had delivered 4,000 babies. And so we felt very confident to have her on our team. And going through that experience, we realized that most of the work and the stuff that we had to do was, we did it on our own. And she basically helped us to, feel confident that what we were doing was good and that everything was progressing well. And then she helped us to, catch the baby and do the measurements and all of that afterward and paperwork. But as far as the process of birthing a baby on our own, Nicole felt very confident about it. And she said, I think for our next baby, I want to have him at home. So that for me was quite shocking and sounded like a big step. But I trust her. Look at this girl.
And it was nice because we did feel the responsibility that it is. They were asking us, well, didn't you feel scared, or there's these fears of what would happen, what if something happens to the baby or the cord gets tangled, and so going into it was not without that awareness that that's a very real possibility. It's a real possibility. And so it was, what can we do to make that, like to ensure success or do everything that's in our hands for this to be safe, for it to have a positive outcome. Do you want to stand up with him?
Yeah, let's dance. Let's dance together. You and Daddy. Come on.
Thank you, baby.
There you go, guy.
And so something that we learned ever since Cosmos's birth, and that was very clear to us for Calians, was that what's most in our hands and what most can ensure success, and success meaning, the baby's born in a safe way, and that both the baby and mother are well at the end and have as much as possible a non-traumatic experience, a gentle experience. And what those keys for success were, which we saw replay in other birth experiences and which we read about in the books that we studied, was to ensure that the mom feels safe, was to have an environment that feels peaceful, where we feel centered, connected to ourselves, connected to intuition, being with people that we feel supported by, and basically feeling safe. And so we knew, okay, so this is in our hands. And for me to feel safe, number one, I don't feel safe in hospitals. So having the baby at home is actually the safest option for me. And what other things? Making sure, being with my partner, exactly, being with my partner, and of course knowing certain things like complications that can occur and what to do if they occur. All those things contribute to me feeling safe. And so for that, I purchased a course, which is amazing, and I recommend it so much, and I'm going to write it here. Freebirth Society.
The Complete Guide to Free Birth.
Complete Guide to Free Birth.
Very extensive.
Yeah, it's long, it's extensive. That's why Aaron says, I just trusted her. So I'd tell him, if there was something particular I wanted him to study about or get into. But this was important because it reaffirmed a lot of the things that I already knew, and some of them not knowing logically, but knowing intuitively, which is, I can birth the baby, which is being pregnant and knowing that if something's going wrong, we will notice, there'll be something like that we perceive or something that feels not exactly right, not exactly balanced. And so this really strengthened my faith in that I could know, and they gave me really good cues and really good practical tools for how to deal with a situation should it show up. So that was exciting and different for us from the experience with Cosmos, because although also with Cosmos we did get this book called Spiritual Midwifery, which is, I think, to this day our favorite, right? Or my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
By Ina May Gaskin. She's an amazing midwife, and she started because she was in a hippie caravan and they started having babies, so they needed some way to deliver those babies, and that started her incredible path. So this book for us was really special because it was basically just birth stories, or at least that's what most impacted me, and what was the most useful was just dozens of birth stories, all happening in different ways, different people, different places, different scenarios, different complications, or just a different road to that end, which was the birth. And what they had in common was that all of these ended in a successful, peaceful, beautiful birthing experience, which for me just gave me that message that this could go one of many ways, but that very likely the outcome would be positive. And so then how could it be positive? And that brought me to follow these, these ways of caring for myself, or of caring for my energy, my environment, etc. So what was different from the experience with Cosmos is that with Cosmos, we were going to have a midwife with us. And so that in part took a lot of weight off of our shoulders, in great deal took weight off of our shoulders, and required less, was less responsibility than this time, where that was a great fear. Like, what are we going to do? Like, what if the baby doesn't make it? What if something happens to me? And the thing that I think we overlook when we're seeing this fear or acting from this fear is that is always a possibility. It's always, always a possibility. If we birth at home, no matter where we birth, it's always a possibility that something happens to the baby, something happens to the mom. And so therefore you check, where is the place then where I feel safest, where I feel like I can tend to myself in case of that, or where I'd feel the most peace. And still the answer for us was home. So yeah, it implied something very different to decide to do it on our own. But more than anything, what that implied was just really, really being connected together, which I thought of right now, but I didn't think of it the other day. Like, what it most required, yes, was trusting in our intuition and our ability, yes, studying, yes, taking responsibility, but a huge part was getting really real and on it in our own ability to communicate, to go through stressful situations. And that did happen in this pregnancy. And actually, we also had an unassisted pregnancy. What we mean by unassisted is that we didn't go and require a professional or some other person's help to guide us through the process and tell us what we needed and give us a route to follow. It was an autonomous.
It was like we were okay.
Yeah, or exactly, and depend on someone else. That's right, to make us feel like I'm okay. Like, okay, check, put my fingers in you, and okay, everything's good. Okay, you're dilated. That was the difference, where it's kind of comfortable to do that, have someone else like tell me if I'm doing well or not, because then how much do I really have to tune into my own body and such. And yeah, I guess we realized like that was beautiful, and we wouldn't change it with the experience of the Cosmos. We wouldn't change it. That was divine, and it's what we needed, and we're so grateful for it. We love that experience. And yet there's that question, what really truly does prepare us to be the people that we want to be in the future? What really does empower us? Is it having that person that knows and that can hold our hand? Or is it sometimes taking that extra step to challenge ourselves to do it on our own? We say when Erin was just starting and praying and introducing this and saying it was an unassisted birth, I just, in that moment, it came to me like, wow, this was assisted in a different way. And not that the other one wasn't assisted in the same way, but this one was so assisted spiritually and energetically, by people and by ourselves, and just by trusting and all those who have done it before us, and the stories and the things that we're reading. Like, that's the way that it was assisted, that it was supported, and that it was made possible. But anyways, so that was a little bit about our pregnancy, which is also a little bit of a wild pregnancy. We didn't look for ultrasound or even to like listen to his heart. We did with a dear friend who's a midwife when we were visiting her and her family. We were curious and she said, hey, do you want to listen? Do you want to check the baby? We said, yeah. She laid me down on the couch and Cosmos was the most beautiful little guard dog, just like there, super attentive, like put his hands on me, like, what are you doing to my mom? And it was a super sweet experience to listen to the baby's heart with her Doppler. And later on, in this course, we learned how even the Doppler and any ultrasound, they do have that ultrasound. They have those microwaves and therefore are not recommendable for the health, and they can be detrimental to babies and mothers, which is not something we're told. Anyways, we decided after that, like, okay, I don't think this is something we want. We already knew, but with that extra information, it was a little more clear for us. So yeah, that's how we lived the pregnancy. At one point, I was feeling some pain, which for me resembled a pain that I had experienced when I had this situation with my gallbladder. And so I was concerned, and I didn't want to just like be neglectful of it. So I did, pay attention and didn't really know what to do. So we went with a family doctor, which he's an alternative doctor, and he's really nice. Very homeopathic in his remedies and stuff. So we went with him, and he had asked for blood tests and urine samples, shalala. So I did that, and he checked it out, and there, it gave us a lot of peace to know that everything was well, and I did have some low magnesium and zinc. So that was something he recommended, to get supplemented with what I was eating and maybe get some vitamins. So other than that, everything was beautiful. Even though I did experience more nausea this time, with Cosmos I didn't experience any. This time I had lots of cravings, and it was just
cup noodles.
Oh my goodness, I had in the first months a huge craving for cup noodles. It had been so long since I hadn't had them, and I fought against myself so hard, fought myself so hard in the sense of like not wanting to give in, like, no, that's bad, that's poison, why do I want that, and just really resisting it.
Me and Cosmos really supported her decision. We helped her a lot to feel comfortable about it. And we joined in on the cup noodles.
Well, yeah, so I was resisting it tons, but it just kept being there. What I resisted really persisted. And so there came a moment after reflection, and I was in the middle of studying a course that was really good about childhood trauma, and so I just had this feeling like, you know what, if my body's asking me for this, like, just let it be medicine. Why not just let it be medicine? Like, we're not talking about the ingredients are going to heal your body, but just let the experience be good for me. Let me enjoy it. Let me tell my body to do something good with this, and let me just be able to follow this craving. So I did, and had a few cup noodle meals. and
it was,
started
eating meat a little bit here and there.
Yeah, but I want to finish just like this one. Like, so and every time we would have it, and it wasn't many times, but it was just this conscious shift of, as I'm eating it, just change from resisting it and telling myself like what a bad person I am or what a terrible decision this was, to just enjoy it, because I did enjoy the flavor, and the smell brought back memories, and it felt soothing. So to just allow that to be good for me, and it was really lovely, and I had some nice meals with my family, and anyways, that was an experience and a good example of what this pregnancy also has brought to me, which was making peace with what is, as in what comes up, what are my emotions. And I have done work on this in the past, but never did I have such a great challenge and practice ground as pregnancy, with lots of cravings and
hormones
and nausea. Yeah, hormones for sure. I couldn't see them, but I could sure feel them. And and once in a while started to have meat, or what did we have in Canada?
Eggs.
We did having eggs, and sometimes yogurt, and sometimes meat. And after years of being vegan, after more years of being vegetarian. So it was a lot of a let go, not because the things that I believe in that made me make those decisions in the past were no longer real to me, but because what I was feeling right now was desire or need or craving for those things. And it was just releasing the resistance, just allowing it to be, and as an experiment, and seeing how it feels with this balance, not saying no to anything, basically. And so I'll update in the future on where we land. Or
Hi, folks.
Oh, so cute. Oh my goodness.
That's you right there.
Oh my gosh.
That's you, baby boy.
How we keep moving forward with that. But for now, it was a really great experience. It's one of the reasons why his name is Calian Oliver Reign. Reign, and spelt as in to reign, a kingdom, because it was this opportunity to claim my life, just take it back as my own. That even though I said this, I don't have to hold on to it, fiercely because I said and because they heard me say it. And so what are they going to say if I don't do it? Because a lot of things I have done in that sense. So thank you, Sam. That's beautiful that it's helpful. And it's just an experiment, Also, these friends we saw the other day, they brought something back to heart, which I really appreciated, which was nothing is permanent and nothing has to be permanent. So we can allow ourselves to experience and to practice and try out. And if it doesn't work, and if we don't like it, and we would discover it's not for us, we have that freedom to leave it and switch to try something else, So that was really nice, and come back to it if we like it, So that was a really nice experience of this pregnancy, and a lot of let go of the expectation that I had with my pregnancy with Cosmos being so easy and no cravings and almost having a perfect diet, and to suddenly having this totally different experience. It also required or brought the invitation to release what I had expected or what I had known before and what was comfortable. It brought up a lot for us. It was a very emotional time, mostly for me as well. But exactly. Happy wife, happy life. So emotional wife, emotional life. I'm going to take that back. So
crazy wife, crazy life.
It's true. You're welcome. Anyways, and so all this following the feeling. Oh, I love where this is taking. Okay, so all this following the feeling and not having to necessarily have logic and rightness back everything up really is what brought us to where we are here. And this is continuing our birth story, because we were in Canada when we found out that we were pregnant. And actually we were in Canada when we invited our baby to come, because we had been, I always do joke around, joked around with Erin, hey, so what about another baby? What about twins, Yeah. And so for Erin, we would, the joke question would bring the real question, or bring us to answer it, truly and explore it a little bit. And so there was a few times that we were no, definitely not. We're not ready. And then there was an evening which was really, really special when Aaron, as we were talking, he said, you know what? I feel ready. I'm ready to invite a new baby into our lives. And I was like, wow, me too. And we were talking about it. And so we decided we would like to do a small ceremony and invite our baby. Oh, so sweet. Invite our baby to come. And so we did. We lit a little candle and we said a prayer, and we, spoke to the universe, but also spoke to that being that we felt was in our future, and just invited him or her. We felt a very strong feminine energy, but we were just inviting and welcoming and saying, we're ready. And whenever you're ready, we're here, and we just want to open ourselves, because previously it was the opposite. We were closing ourselves by saying, no, we're not ready. No, we don't want this right now. And that was really special to do together. There was something, it was divine also with Cosmos, to be very surprised and then then transitioned to the excitement of his coming. And this time, that was a surprise though. So this time it was, it was intentional. It was intentional that we, that we open, and we don't know what it's going to bring, right? But it was just opening ourselves to the possibility, opening ourselves to this idea, to this energy, and to the wealth and the richness and the change that it would bring to our lives. No longer like resisting because of the discomfort or not feeling ready. So that's how it started. And it took a while. I felt excited and then even discouraged a few weeks or even months after, because I still hadn't gotten pregnant. And then it was nice because we welcomed, and then after that excitement and it not coming, we didn't really have a time frame, but it just hadn't happened. I also had the experience of letting go. I don't know if that happened to you, but I just like let it go. Like, okay, we did ask, when it's your time, come. And so if you haven't come, it's because it's not your time. It's because you're not ready or we're not ready. So just releasing that was also a very special experience, because then when it did come and we were pregnant, that I guess made it all the more like delightful, like, oh, wow, you are ready. We are ready. Thank you. It's like an honor to receive this new energy. And different to with Cosmos, who we announced like 3 months after we found out we were pregnant, because of that, like, well, what if something happens? We don't know. There's that little window of more possibility of miscarriage, and that was a real fear. We didn't announce it to anyone until like 3 months in. And with Calian, we announced it the same day that we found out, and that was really special to just feel like, it doesn't mean, and this was a lot to do with the whole energy of the entire experience, it's not to say that it's not, that it was impossible, that we could lose this baby, or, that something could happen. It was just, no matter what, this is how we feel right now, and it's okay to be excited about it. And if something did happen, yes, we would be really sad, and it's okay, it's okay to be seen in that excitement and that sadness. It's okay. It just was okay to go with what felt right, and it felt so right to share it. And that's the faith that painted the whole experience. You want to say anything, Dave? Thank you for taking care of him.
So we just flowed with it, right? And then it brought up that question, like, we had to be somewhere.
Oh yeah, because pandemic.
A period of time, and we couldn't move. Where do we want to be? And I was already really set on being in Canada, and we
were excited. We were going to build our house.
We had a spot. We had our team, our parents. Hi, Danielle. Good to see you. Well, good to see that you're here. So we really had things going over there in Canada, and we're looking into how to get Nicole's residency and all of that. So when she brought it up, where would you want to be? For me, there was no question. Here in Canada, but she really, really felt that it was important for, at least for her, to come to Mexico.
Yeah, and it was crazy because I didn't, I felt selfish to have that desire. Like, it was one of those unshakable desires that are also inexplicable, because I was very happy and excited too about, and in on it with all these projects. And we still one day will build our house in Canada. But it wasn't something that I was like, it almost seemed like I was like conniving something against what we were currently trying to build. And it felt so, I wanted to resist that. I resisted that too. Oh, sweetie, I'll get up with him now.
So that was a stretch. And it brought up something beautiful in our relationship, which is that
one of our greatest
we didn't know who to be with each other because we were afraid the other one would leave.
And that is a long story made short, because it was like our greatest clash. I would classify it as that, like our greatest clash,
Mhm.
because we did like talk about it, and it got even a little bit like heated or just, emotional, because there was so much there that both of us were not really saying, like me, not really like saying or expressing just the entirety or the intensity with which I felt that we were going to or needed to go to Mexico. And I don't know what you were not expressing, but we weren't saying it because of that fear. Like, well, what if he knows? And then he's like, that was the bottom line. Like at the bottom of it all was that you would decide to leave me, to not, and that was a very vulnerable place to be in, because who wants to say that? I like feeling independent and like I don't care what you say and I can do whatever I want. But that was real. And so I also didn't know how to explain it, which felt even more vulnerable, because where was the logic in that? And Aaron's very logical. Very good team. So, sorry I interrupted. I just had to say that.
Yeah, so it was beautiful how we just connected, and we cried and cried and cried. And Cosmos was there with us, and he hugged us, and it just became very clear to me that night too that what we really needed and wanted right now, we didn't have there. And one of those things is this Mexican
like warmth. And it's not because it's something that couldn't be created. It just was what we were needing at this moment, which is what we asked, like, okay, let's get to the bottom of it. So let's look at what do we really want and need beyond a physical place, because in Canada we had so much, and that's what we were seeing, or what Aaron was seeing most. We have the financial security and the possibilities and my family and the land and all these things which are real, but then what were we truly desiring at heart at that moment? Especially, that's why it was a catalyst, and that's why it's relevant to this story, with our baby on the way, being new parents and parents of two, and parents that we're going to get to decide where to have and how to have our baby. There were many more things that come into play, and that begged the question, what do we truly want and need right now, and where are we going to get that most? Where is that most available right now?
And it seemed crazy, because the way that we felt we wanted to get to Mexico was driving our motorhome across the border, which was and maybe still is closed to tourism and non-essential travel. So it just seemed crazy, and most people who we knew thought that we were pretty crazy trying to attempt that. Love you, Mom and Dad. And lots of people, but yeah, we just were able to communicate that we felt that it was divine, that we were being guided.
We prayed about it very, very profusely. Like the same with me wanting to go to Mexico. I prayed like, God, please, if this, can you put a little outside of the deck? If this is not divine, if this is just like a little craving of mine, please take it away. Like show me another way. Show me what we're like, give me the desire for what we're meant to have, where we're meant to go. And the same was with this. That's why I said unshakable, because it didn't go away. So I trusted it was divine. And same with this, we said, God, please, like, okay, we feel this is what we want, but if there's a better way, please show us, like, make it so clear, close the door. And that's how we've lived our whole lives. And thank you again, Mom and Dad, and Mom and Dad, because that's what they have taught us, that we can live that way by faith. We can see signs in the universe and in the world and in people who come and tell us something that doesn't make sense. It's all divine. They're all messages. So we asked for that. We said, please make it so clear. We know either way it's going to happen, right? We'll be pushed or pulled in the direction we're meant to go. But if this is supposed to happen, just then make everything work out. And it did. It really, really did. It was like miracles on miracles.
And very trying times, a lot of things that were just pushing our,
where it seemed like
pushing our limits and our pushing us to really see what we believed and how we held on to our compass and our GPS, our internal GPS. So
yeah, because the external GPS was like, no, error, not that way, you're not allowed. No, all the roads are blocked, you know? So it was a lot of trusting inwards.
Thanks.
Thank you.
So, we're doing this together. We're a team.
Clearly.
So yeah, a lot of those challenging and trying times I can see were preparing us to have the moral fiber and the strength and just the trust in ourselves and in the universe, that we live in a universe that's friendly and that wants the best for us, to be able to just go right up to the moment of being ready to have this baby on our own. And just a couple weeks before, we didn't have a place yet. Some people were saying, what are you guys going to do? Sounds like you don't really have anything going. And we just trusted. And kind of by accident, actually, we found this place. And this was the first place that we actually asked if we could rent for our birth. And they said yes. And this has been the magical, most beautiful place for us.
We're actually leaving tomorrow.
And we're leaving tomorrow. Today's our last day here, so it's quite fitting to make this video today. So everything.
Thank you for bringing it back. That was perfect.
Everything just kind of fell into place as it needed to. We didn't really have a lot of time sitting around. And well, what I mean is things happened when they needed to.
Mm-hmm.
And so many people supported us and prayed for us and have been with us on this journey. And we feel like that's a huge part of how we've been able to be calm and, like Danielle says, flow through this. So everything from the space till someone lending us an awesome water trowel as a bathtub.
Yeah.
To be able to have our water birth. Yeah, so we just jump right into it, huh?
Yeah. So that was the pregnancy, the prologue, all this stuff that we're talking about happened.
The commercials.
All of that happened on the way to this. And the reason why it's important is because this is what we believe, or the way we see it, is that the energy of Calian, or like the energy of this new life, or the way that we were opening ourselves to him, inviting him, opening ourselves to, allowing, prepared us for his birth. And it has brought us all the way down. And I don't know that we would have had the same experience without that journey. And that was the whole.
I also love how we've stopped in so many places, like from Canada down to Malinalco. We've been in so many different places. We've met great community. We've met awesome people. We've met midwives. We've been in beautiful spaces that we loved. But Nicole always just felt like, okay, this is nice, but let's just keep on looking. And ever since a long time ago, we had talked to a friend who lives here in Malinalco, and she's been talking about it. Her name's Lou, and she's awesome.
And she was the only one at our birth.
And she was the one at our birth. Yeah, so she's been telling us about this place. So Nicole said, oh, I'd like to go check it out. So,
she was not even telling us. She was telling the world, but I know she was telling me because I just felt it. I was like, that place looks amazing. So I had a mental note. But I want to say something, babe. Yeah. It's like when you see these really good-looking guys or women, you just like see them and you're like, okay, nice, like eye candy. But I wouldn't eat it. Oh. That came right now. Where you see it and you're like, that's really nice, but not for me. You know, or like, oh, he's super nice. And they're like, oh, you like him. And you're like, but not for me. And so that's what it felt like with all these places, you know. Sometimes we'd be saying bye and they're like, oh, you didn't like it here? And it's like, yes, I love it. It's just not for me, or not right now. And also because we had this like, not end goal, but like, yes, we were looking for the place where we wanted to birth our baby. And there was things.
I think most places that we left, we didn't say like, it's not going to be here. It was more like, well, we're going to go check out this other place and maybe we'll come back. Like there were a few places.
Yeah, because we liked them. It just didn't feel like it's here. And when we got here, it was like, it's here. Now just where? Like, where is the house? Where we're going to
Yeah.
do it or live or have our cuarentena.
So Nicole was feeling contractions. coming on
Wait. We needed
ever
a water
since-
place. That's why we came to have we wanted to have a water birth, right?
Okay.
That's important.
Da-da-da-dun, da-da.
Okay, keep going.
We wanted to have a water place. Just felt that this baby was a water baby and needed to be born in a place that had running water, not like running water, but like real live water. And this place has spring water. We drink the tap water here, which is rare in Mexico.
And they have
She
2
had
pools.
a baby in drinking water, y'all. We've got big swimming pools outside that are filled with spring water. So it's beautiful. We found that place.
Can you tell them about the 18th? So now we're coming up to the birth, right? So
Okay.
all this happened. We found the place. It has water. And
We
then,
have our tub. We got everything ready.
but when's the baby going to be born?
When's the baby going to be born, guys?
So we're
What day? That's what we were asking people, and everyone's making bets. And it's going to be this day and that day.
It's going to be a girl. It's
gonna
going to
be
be
a
a boy.
Everyone was wrong. Nobody knew. Except for Calian. Calian is the one who knew. And so
We were already in the house and ready. I'm just going to make a
Mhm.
tiny side note before you say that because I want you to tell them about the 18th.
oh man. My prediction.
But okay, so we're already ready, and it's a crazy feeling where, okay, maybe everyone doesn't feel this, but I think it's probably general that you don't feel impatient, like, okay, I want the baby to be born now, or we try not to feel impatient. So we're just like, flowing like, okay, it can be any day now, but sometimes it's just like, it can be any day now. Could that be please be today? Because
Mhm.
you're like, we're going on a mountain climb. Oh, we'll go, but oh man, like maybe I'll have the baby. I don't know, maybe that's me just being chicken.
No, I
But
think
sometimes it'd be
that's-
like, I don't know if I want to go that far. I don't know if I want to go to this thing or do that because, baby is coming any day. So I want to kind of be like close to my peeps, close to my space. And
Mhm.
even just the feeling, like the nesting feeling of like, now it happens, I can see a mess and I'm like, I can deal with that. But in that moment, it's like, no, got to clean it up because baby could come anytime and I don't want that there. Like, I don't have to worry about extra stuff. It's a very real feeling of like wanting to have everything ready and be like prepared as much as we can be.
So it was the 18th, and
It was before the 18th. And you felt it was going to be born that day, remember?
yeah, a friend had read a little like a Mayan calendar thing to me, and
And you asked.
I asked him like, well, okay, what's like the 17th of June, and so he showed me
Yes, does
the
anything have to do
17th,
with
and then I said, what about around there? Is there something like water? And he looked, and the next day, the 18th, was the day of the rain or something like that. So I was like, oh wow, that would be so perfect. That before we conceived Rain, I had this feeling that we were getting a baby named Rain, and I didn't even know how it was spelled, but I just knew it was Rain, and it felt like a feminine energy, like I felt like it was a baby girl named Rain. So the whole pregnancy, that's what I've been chanting. And so anyhow, I felt like, man, it's got to be that day. And then on that day, Nicole was having contractions already, and we just felt like
Braxton Hicks.
felt like, wow, this could be it. And I said, you know what? We could just make this happen. We could just tell the baby, come on, baby, let's do it now. We'll just proclaim it to the universe, just power through it and just have a baby tonight. What do you think? Let's have it tonight?
It doesn't work.
And she's like, yeah, let's do it. Meow, meow, meow.
Well, I don't feel.
Let's just say we went to bed that night, and the next day I was a much humbler prophet.
Yeah, that sounds so discouraging though. Like they were Braxton Hicks, and they just, they were constant throughout the entire day, but they never really, really intensified.
So I just have to confess that I wrote in our book that we have that Nick we've been writing in ever since we were pregnant with Cosmos. We had this book, so we're writing in it like as their parents to give them these gifts and treasures that they can read one day when they grow up. And Nicole's been doing most of the writing. I kind of abandoned the project, but at the end, she's writing about how the birth is coming, and so I wrote in there, today is your birthday. It's June 18th.
We're gonna write
My
down
baby
his birth
girl
certificate just
and
for
all
fun.
of that. So that's going to be good, and a nice little lesson that we can share about and we really don't know what's going on. It is a great mystery, but it's okay. It's okay to dream and to jump out there and then to be like, hey, I was wrong.
And we even talked about it, like, so what do we do now? Like, am I going to scribble the page? Should we rip it out? Should we like, no, that really happened. Like, we're truly
It's part of our history.
Yeah, you really don't know.
My dad really is that crazy, he's going to say. So
it didn't happen.
Nicole just had more and more and more contractions for the next like 11 days. On and off, you know, every day was like, oh, it could be today. And anyhow.
But that day, it started at 4:30 in the morning on the 29th. 4:30 in the morning, again, Braxton Hicks, but very constant, very regular. And so it just felt like, okay, it was nice because I felt like, this feels like baby's coming. But instead of like, oh my God, feels like he's coming, like the 18th kind of excitement, here it just felt really calm. And also I remembered like something that I wanted to, you know, keep as a mantra, or at least close to heart, was this could take a very long time. You know, it's shorter, great, but like this could take a very long time. With Cosmos, it was
21 hours.
21 hours of labor in total, but 7 hours just of the hard labor. Anyways, prepared for long, you know, something long. But I just took it slow, and the whole day, you know, was like that. And we have our friend Lou, who we were gonna, you know, who we had invited to be here and help us out with Cosmos and whatnot. But I didn't feel like calling anyone, and I just, you know, the whole day just calm. I did let my mom know, you know, it's going slow, and it did increment during the day. So it was exciting, but also just kept doing things and like calm. And it came the afternoon. I had taken a nap and I went for a walk. I went for a walk by myself, and I was already feeling stronger contractions, stronger and close together. And anyways, and it was really nice. A sweet friend that also lives on this property asked me, you know, as I was going, she's like, oh, I'll come with you. And I was like, yeah, like kind of on an automatic. And then I just took a moment. I just like breathed and I looked at her and I said, you know, I'm actually going to be alone. And it felt so freeing to say that, because I did know that I might be, I don't know, might offend her, or that she had the best intention. My sweetie. But in that moment, it was important to just be real, to say what I really needed. And I loved that. It was like signature of this experience, you know? So I just told her, maybe you can hold him for a bit.
Cambio.
Come
on, big boy.
Oh, sweet boy. He's actually ready for sleepy time.
Cosmos fell asleep right away.
And so yeah, it felt really nice to be able to tell her that, just like, actually, I'm going to be alone. And also made it more clear to me my own intention, which I wasn't totally clear on. So I just went on a walk, and it was beautiful. There's these huge trees here, and apparently there's just 2 in the area. There's a really amazing story about them, but they're called Our Witness, and they, wherever those are, there's a lot of water. They have really huge and deep roots, and they're like great grandfather trees, and people, you know, they know to respect them very much. And there's one here close by. So I went to walk to it. Like that was a destination I had in my heart. So I went on that walk, and I got to that tree, and I just sat by it, and I had some contractions there with it, and just like felt it and held it. And it was so nice. Like, this is not a very big pivotal moment in the birth experience, but it was a very beautiful detail for me to go and feel supported by Mother Nature, this, you know, entity, this energy that supports everything, that supports me. And so I came back. And as I came back, you know, I kept having those strong contractions. So I just, you know, told Aaron, okay, let's fill the tub. So it was so exciting. But still, like, in this calm energy, I just came in, you know, got ready, and he prepared the tub. I wasn't eating very much ever since then, or even earlier. Didn't really feel like it. And so he prepared the tub. He was so great. It was hot the whole time. And I got in, and I spent maybe, I don't know, like 3 hours there, right? 3 or 4 hours there.
And Cosmos was in with you.
Yeah, and Cosmos got in with me, and he gave me a massage. He was pouring water over me, and it was so special to have that like time with him and feel like this was the last time in some ways for this. And I got to experience my contractions there. Wow, like in bed that time they were already, hurting a bit, but it was so nice to experience them in the water, which really alleviated a lot. But also just with this peace and like this excitement, but a very chill excitement, like of just expectancy and of welcoming, like, okay, this could take a long time, but I'm flowing with it and I'm very grateful for it. And every sensation is bringing me closer to receiving my baby. So yeah, a few hours afterwards, Cosmos had already gotten out, and I just decided, I think I'm ready to try to sleep a bit. It'd already been a while that they had like the same intensity and duration, and so I was like, okay, let's take a sleep. That's very recommended in every book and everything. They say try to rest. It's not as easy as you think, but we tried. So we got in bed, and that was like a little past midnight. So we slept. I slept maybe an hour, and then again the contractions started. And I like to call them waves too, because they contract but also open. So waves. They started being stronger, and so it was very uncomfortable, especially after being in the water. Like, it was so uncomfortable to experience those laying down flat. And Aaron was sleeping. He has the gift of sleep. Can sleep under very strange conditions. So I'm really glad he got to sleep. But so I was just like, okay, I don't want to do this alone anymore. And it was starting to hurt a lot, like the kind of like, just feeling like no position is comfortable. So I woke him up. I was like, hey, let's get the tub again. So he got up, just like so much energy. I was very amazed and grateful. He just like got up. Okay, yes, let's do it. And started, making sure that the water was at a good temperature again. And so I got in, and the contractions had really started up by now. It was 2 a.m. when he got up, and they were just so intense and getting more. Oh, I thought he was sleeping. He's just so peaceful. You like his story, right?
It's your birth story, my boy.
And so it really, really, really kicked in. And I was needing him to put pressure on my back, because by that time, the baby's descending, and it doesn't happen to everyone, but some people experience more back labor. And that was really, really present for me. So it helped a lot for Aaron to put so much pressure that, like, in other circumstances would probably be too much or painful. But for me, it just was exactly what I needed. So he was putting tons of pressure, to the point that in the end of the birth, like, he was standing on the rim of the bathtub, like literally pushing all his weight on my back. So this was a really special experience, because, mental notes taken from the last experience that we had. There was a lot that I wanted to like challenge myself, or remember to do differently, or to welcome more instead of resisting, like the first time. That, of course, they were new sensations, and so a lot of times that I was feeling them and that registering them as painful, I would resist them, as in when I did have a rest between contractions, would begin to almost be frantic, like, I don't want another one. And of course, it had been hours, so very valid, but I did fall into that a few times, of just like dreading the next contraction and spending the valuable time that I could be resting and relaxing and preparing and getting strength, just thinking and like fearing the next sensation. And so that was something I definitely wanted to try to do differently. And it really helped, Aaron was reminding me and telling me, just positive affirmations, like, you can do this. And every sensation's bringing us closer to the baby. Thank you. Yes, we want this. And I was using my words as well. Something I shared in our first, in our Spanish live, was how in Cosmos Birth, a big gift for me was that of releasing my voice. And it was really important. They talk, maybe you've heard about this, that as above, so below. So the mouth, the voice, and I shared a post about this. It's incredible how our vocal cords, our mouth resembles almost identically our vaginal, our inside, our vulva, this whole reproductive system, the opening, the cervix. And so just how they're very similar, relaxing the mouth, relaxing these muscles also allows us to relax down there. So this is beneficial to sexual pleasure and opening and to birthing. The same for opening and releasing and relaxing. So I would remember that too. And Aaron was reminding me. So it was so nice, just like telling myself, I have everything I need. I'm going to open up huge. You're getting huge, Nicole. Like, thank you for this. Thank you, baby. You're doing so great. We're doing so great. And just talking, where in my first birth, what helped a lot was releasing my voice. So that meant making sound. That meant expressing when I felt like it was super hard and like, I can't do this. I did that a lot in the first one. And in retrospect, I could have said more empowering things sometimes, but it helped. It helped. That was the healing that I needed in that first experience, to not hold back when I am feeling something, when I do feel impotent, to be able to just express it and aloud. I was much more, I'm better than this emotion. I'm not going to express that anger. I don't go there. Like, don't worry. I'm very positive, to the point of toxically positive. And so in that experience, expressing and making like deep sounds and just shouting if I felt pain, just letting it out, letting everything that I needed to out like an animal was really important for me. And I did it. And this experience, what I got to practice was something I'd seen in birth videos, some women just like having their babies and maybe making some sound if they needed to, but then like birthing in silence, almost just like, wait, what's happening? Like, and then suddenly pulling out this baby and having been like so calm. And I remember that just striking me, like, how is that possible? And so I remember telling Aaron, like, okay, so I'd tell him, okay, another one's coming. And you'd feel it, and then like I'd say, put pressure on, and we'd be talking or saying these affirmations to empower, to strengthen, to remind me. And in the breaks, just I could remember to breathe, and just like I really took my time. My sweetie. But I lost my train of thought a little bit.
I like how we were really talking, like we were declaring. More than just saying words, we were declaring and bringing things from like a spiritual or thought, or more like ethereal realm down into our physical realm. I imagine it almost like an artist, who's getting this feeling or getting this image in his mind, and then just letting himself flow and put it into a physical reality on a canvas through his paint. I felt like that's what we were doing with our creative ability to imagine and design what it is that we wanted.
That reminds me of the moments when it was like, feeling the pain, and then like, almost being like, it hurts so much, because it did. But then in that moment, like you're saying, being the artist and choosing like, but I want this to be pleasant. Then saying like, thank you, yes, 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 instead of like, no, I don't want to feel this pain, saying like, yes, yes, even though I'm feeling like, the opening and whatever.
That was really powerful. Instead of running away from the process that's bringing our baby to us, we recognized it and we honored it for what it was.
Yeah, like we know this is taking us there. So we say thank you, like, come on in, scrub away, even though that maybe was, not feeling super great. And that really did change the experience. It changed the experience, I believe, in my body to be like, oh, so we don't resist this, we let it go. Okay, come on in. And it really helped it move along so quickly. And it was awesome because we didn't have the know-how to like measure dilation, and also having in our studies, we learned that you can be dilating throughout your pregnancy at different moments and in different like amounts. And it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to have the baby. And same in birth, you can dilate more and then it can close up a little if you're tense or whatever. And it doesn't necessarily mean that the baby's going to be born sooner, or it can progress very rapidly from a certain aperture to the full opening. And it also can take a long time depending on the circumstances, which is why I return to what we mentioned at the beginning. Our focus was on keeping this relaxed and peaceful and loving and safe feeling space and energy. And it was so, so important. I didn't mention that when we got back in at 2 in the morning, Aaron got in with me, or even before, before Cosmos fell asleep, right? And Lou was here. Our friend arrived, and it was just divine timing. This was earlier, and Aaron was able to get in there with me. And that, having, the same way they come in, the same way they come out, right? So it really, really, really helps relaxing and opening to be intimate with your partner, to have nipple stimulation, even clitoral, or, it really helps to relax, to open. And so it was super nice to have that time alone with Aaron, even just to, share last words and fears, or just be together. And
we were there in the tub, and then someone knocked on the door, and we're like, what? Who's that? And it was our friend Lou. And she had been very nearby to Sweat Lodge when she got our message that things were progressing. So she just came right on over.
Oh yeah, we hadn't even told her like, okay, come on over. And I'm glad that she came, because I don't know, things happen real quick. But she just came, and she happened to be so close by. Yeah. So it was perfect. And she helped us read with Cosmos and be with him. And so he fell asleep, and that allowed us to have this space together. Then it happened that we slept, then we woke up at 2, and then started having more intense contractions. And there actually was a point when, this is why I mentioned that I hadn't eaten ever since earlier in the day, because on that, in retrospect, I would do differently, make sure I have something. But I started feeling just dizzy and nauseous, and I'm not a person that feels that very easily, and I've never even fainted in my life. But I was just feeling like, whoa, like even like my eyes, like feeling like foggy, like if I was super tired. Yeah. And I didn't feel like my body didn't have energy, like I don't have strength, but I did feel like very like just turning off. And so I told that to Aaron, and the water was very hot, also so steamy in the room. I think all that contributed to, like, it didn't help that my pressure was feeling low. So I told Aaron, hey, I'm feeling like this. And so for a moment I felt a little scared, but then I remembered that also was within the realm of normal for sometimes women to experience fainting. And it's just, care and observe and help them get their energy back, help them come back. So I told him that. I was like, I don't know, I've never fainted, but if I do, just don't freak out. This was also a lot of what our process consisted of, was learning the things that we didn't need to be afraid of. Don't be afraid if the placenta takes, longer than this to come out. Don't be afraid if it's, been 60 hours and the baby's still not out, and etc. So I also got to tell this to him, to not worry, just care for me, make sure I come back too, and just use your intuition. Like if you really feel like I'm not well, then, take action. But that was, we also talked to Lou, like, hey, she's feeling like this, Aaron, and checked with her. And she said, let's give her some, like a drink to bring her energy up. So they made me a really nice mineral watered lemonade with agave nectar, and it just super sweet. It was super sweet. But I just took 2 sips, and I felt drastically different. So that was really nice. And it was so nice not to freak out about it. That was so nice. Like I remember now, and it was like, okay, this is happening. Like taking it seriously, but not freaking out. And so happened really quick, guys. That was like 2 o'clock. He was born at
4.
At 4 in the morning. So it was very fast, but it also felt like forever. So Aaron was there putting pressure, and it just kept getting intense. There was a few moments when I really was like, I don't have energy, especially when I was feeling my pressure, when I was feeling my low pressure, I just
At one point you cried out, you're like, God, I can't do this on my own. I need your help. Help me. That was beautiful. It was beautiful to see you surrender like that. And with so much power and so much bravery and still just being at the end of yourself.
Yeah.
And very soon after that, that's when Calian was born.
And
I
saying
loved
that.
I just remember she's like, I can feel his head. Like she could feel his head with her fingers. I was like, oh my God, are you serious? It's happening like this. It's right now. And I felt inside, yep, that's his head. I could feel his head.
I felt one moment a little bit scared because it felt like soft. And so I was like, oh my God, is that the cord? And that's something dangerous. Like they were asking us in the past live, or saying that something they were most scared about was what if the baby suffocates, gets strangled with their cord. And that is very unlikely to happen, because what would happen, if I cut off my breathing here, I wouldn't, I would suffocate, if I cut off my throat or my nose. But they're not breathing from their nose or their mouth. They're breathing from their stomach, connected to the umbilical cord, connected to the placenta, connected to you. So the cord being wrapped around would not affect their breathing per se.
From their neck.
Exactly, because they're still attached, right? But what could be dangerous is when they're coming out, if the cord is above their head and they get caught, like their head is squishing the cord against your pubic bones, for example, then that can cut circulation from the cord to the baby, because the baby's still depending on the cord. That's something that's more dangerous than having it wrapped around their neck. That can quite easily be, they can be spun, or they themselves flip themselves over. It's really amazing just to trust them and know that, yes, these things happen. Maybe a baby has been, had the cord around it, caused serious complications. But the statistics are so powerful to learn about, because they are like that. So even though it's happened, if that's like 1 in 1,000, then really how much more or less weight does that, how much can that affect our fear if we know it a little more really? Anyways, so yeah, when you feel like you can't do it anymore, you're in transition, she says. Yeah, that's what it felt like. It felt like, so saying that, it didn't feel like I was giving up. It felt like I was opening space, like realizing, yeah, I can't do this alone, but there's also so much more to support me and help this be able to happen, that if I just let like, okay, I'm open for help, then it can just come flooding in. It was kind of like from that inner knowing that that's what I was really doing. And so it was super nice. And so I was telling how with the past birth, the greatest, like, I guess, medicine was for me, or the most present, was using and releasing my voice. And in this one, what it was for me was I lost it a little bit. In this birth, the gift for me was being able to just do it differently, just experiment, just be able to connect with an inner strength that didn't really make any sense, or didn't have to make any sense. And so I remembered those women. They were very present with me, those women that I'd seen in videos just birthing their children in like such peace and even ecstasy. And so, I'd already been practicing this, like saying, yes, yes, I welcome you, come, like even through the pain, like even smiling and through like, yeah, pain. So it's probably like a kind of fierce smile. But I remember like, okay, what am I telling my body like that I want, or that I'm feeling? Like, I'm happy about this. I'm opening, I'm welcoming. And so I told Aaron, I'm going to practice not making any sound. I'm just going to try it out, but like, I'll let you know Like sometimes he might have known I was in a contraction because of the sound I'd make, but I told him like, I'll let you know when I'm in the contractions, you know, I'm still like experiencing it and you keep putting this pressure. But I wanted to try not making any sound. And so I remember just like holding on so tight to the rim of that bathtub and just like breathing mind, you know, if it wasn't in out loud, but just like feeling it and just letting myself feel it. Like this is a feeling and this feeling is opening and this opening is bringing my baby. Not this is pain, this is torture, this is breaking me open, this is going to kill me, this is too much, which is also places we can go and very valid, very true. But I just wanted to choose what could it be like to do it another way, and is it possible? And it was. And it was so impactful for myself to experience that was possible, to experience that I could do that. And so later watching our birth video, there is a video, we will share it on our Patreon later, so you have to follow us to see it. But I was surprised to see, I didn't remember, but I watched the video and I saw myself in that moment, you know, when I was like, okay, so the head is here, and just like kind of positioning myself to how would it be more comfortable for me to push this out and catch it. I watched the video, and in that moment when I pushed him out, even though I know that it was the moment of most pain, because it's not even just because that they call it the ring of fire when the baby is finally emerging, because you are at the widest opening point and being stretched to your max and having pressure behind. In that moment, I seen the video, like I remember what it felt like, but then I saw the video and I was just like nonchalant, just like, okay, there it is, and just pulled it out. It's like, what? That's what it looked like. And so that was incredible for me. Like, wow, just it's something I'll keep like unpacking and that I think will continue to strengthen me in my life. But it was so amazing. It was amazing. And so quick and so simple. This also struck me as I told the story in Spanish. I'm like, wow, there's like everything else seems like so much more, you know, supporting and leading up to and almost like big than the birth. The birth, yes, it was so big. It was the most important. It was the goal. And yet look at this little guy. It seems, as I tell it now again, like so simple. So simple. Had everything I needed, designed perfectly. He's a big baby. He's a big baby. And it was amazing in that moment also to so I had heard some people say that they never felt the urge to push, and other people tell how it was like when they felt the need to push, and how you should do these slow breaths so you don't push too fast. So I was like, okay, so I don't want to push him out too fast so I don't tear, but also those breathings felt like kind of weird, and they didn't, I don't know, it didn't feel natural. Didn't really get how to do it properly, I think. But so I only had the experience with Cosmos, where at some point the midwife told me, no, you don't have to poop right now, because I ran to the bathroom. She's like, this is the baby. Okay, so, you know, and I, you know, put my legs, got myself how I felt comfortable, and was sitting on Aaron's lap. And then she told me, okay, now push. Okay, now stop. Okay, now push, you know. So it was interesting because this time I didn't have anyone there, you know, there to tell me that. There to tell me, okay, you're open enough, or okay, now it's time to push, or, you know, push again, or push this much. Like, no one to give me any kind of instructions. And no one was there to catch the baby except for me. So that was also something that was a little bit mind-blowing. Is like how much energy last time went into like, you know, like just focusing on pushing, and even pushing from atop my tummy, and looking in the mirror that they'd put for us, like seeing his head come out and let that kind of be my guiding light. This time, to not have the mirror, not have anyone to tell me, not even know if I was ready or open enough, but just to be there, you know, in this position that felt most comfy to me, and know that I had to catch the baby. It completely changed the focus. So I wasn't thinking of how much it was hurting or anything like that. I just was ready to catch it. And Aaron was there with me, and it just felt like, I don't know, I just felt totally safe and totally supported. Like if I needed anything, you know, he was right there. So that worry never even even came up. And that was really special. So, do you have any comments about this moment? And it just, just came out because I make that sound because his water bag hadn't broken. Oh, okay. So neither with him nor with Cosmos do I have the experience of a water bag breaking previously, because Cosmos was born with the water bag. It popped as he was coming out, and with his placenta, just all together. And Calian, in that moment that his head came out, I felt like a big water balloon bursting, just like water pressure just coming out. And so that's how I knew the bag had burst. And then he came out, his head just came right out. And it was just one more push after that, I think. And Aaron reminded me, let him stay in the water, keep him in the water a little bit, because, we'd seen those videos and we also wanted to just let him, it's like the same for him to come out of the water into the water. But it was so quick, I didn't even think about it. I think I took him out pretty quick, huh?
Mm-hmm.
And he came out, lifted him up, he kind of just floated up. And it was amazing how, if I could have been in any state of tiredness at that moment, it was like I was more awake than ever. I was like, yes, ready to go run a marathon, but I was just awake.
Very alert.
Yeah, exactly. Very alert. And he had a little cry, a very short little cry. And never did we feel the need to pick him up or pat him or put him upside down or smack him. I think I'll stand up with him a bit, baby. You can take it from here.
And he was just so calm. He loved it in there. He was just laying in the warm water with the Christmas lights, and it was so nice to just watch him breathing and being in Nicole's arms. And he started nursing quite soon after he came, and we were so happy and excited, and we opened his legs and we said, he's got balls. So we knew he was a boy. And we left her alone for a little while there in the tub, and we prepared the bed and put a little plastic and a blanket on top. And about an hour after he was born, that's when her placenta was born, but it just hadn't come out. And then she said, oh, I'm going to try and push it out. So she started, and it came kind of half out, and it was just sitting there for quite a long time. And I was feeling and trying to help it come out just very softly. And I tried to shift my body, move a little bit. It was so crazy to have this big literal sack out coming just between my legs. So I was kneeling in the tub, and I just kind of tried to sway a little bit, and so it would move, but it wasn't really descending more. It was all out, but it was still attached somehow, not totally released. Mm-hmm. And then she said, I'm going to stand up and try to get a picture of it.
This is going to be the best picture. My only picture with a real sack
and
between my legs.
Is a picture of it. And a second after that picture, there was a big splash on me.
Yeah.
She stood up, and it just fell out and splashed into more.
Yeah.
And then we put a blanket on her, and we said, okay, you ready? And she walked over to the bed. And so when it came out, I would have liked to have a little container ready to catch it. I didn't think it'd fall so quick, but something I didn't think about was that, it's connected to the baby. And so it's quite sensitive on their belly button where the umbilical cord is. And he cried a moment when it fell, because it gave a little tug, it was a little bit violent at that moment. So yeah. Just that little note. Mm-hmm.
And I got up, they covered the baby, went to the bed, and I started shivering though. It was crazy. And maybe it's because my back was uncovered for a while. I was just there with the baby, just looking at him and connecting. It was, like you said, an hour. but I just was shivering and shivering and shivering, and I felt like I couldn't control it. So they got me in bed quick and started rubbing my legs. Lou started rubbing my legs, and you gave me something, right?
Kisses, lots of kisses.
They made me a smoothie, a banana and mango smoothie with spirulina because, since I hadn't eaten, just to kind of get well again, get my strength up. And that was it.
And that was it. We had our baby. His cord was already pretty much flaccid and done pulsating by the time that she got into bed. But we left him connected for quite a while longer, and then said, "So, should we cut the cord?" "Yeah, sounds good." So we tied it off, and I went and got our chef knife from the kitchen and sharpened it up, and we just said a little.
Sounded like a sword.
Yeah. And we said our thank you to it for being the caretaker of our baby the whole time that he was inside of Nicole, and
we just got to say goodbye. It's like really saying goodbye to the pregnancy, because that's what it implied, as him being inside of me, and then also having this beautiful organ that my body also magically created, to support him. And then now it's cutting him off from that life support and just having him truly in this world. And we wanted to honor it too, because we don't know what that means for him, but I'm sure that was important for him. And it was a beautiful moment, just simple and here and meaningful for us. And then you cut it, and it cut really easy.
Just like a tomato. And it's just like sink. Yeah. Maybe it's because it had sat for that long.
I think it's because it was so sharp.
It's pretty sharp.
Oh, Sam says, shaking is a good sign. Trauma experience releases instead of getting stored in the body. That's so beautiful to hear. I think I'm going to muse on that for a while.
It's like expressing fear or expressing pain rather than just holding it in and trying to pretend like it's not happening, or
which is
letting it go.
Yeah, I think that's a good one of the things to close with. Was something that we mentioned in the Spanish live, when they asked about, but weren't you afraid? And it was, of course we were afraid of many things, just like we were afraid, and that we realized that we were both afraid of the other, leaving the other if we knew what they were really thinking and feeling. And here too, we had many fears, but just like what you're saying, that's why it brings it up for me. What we did was face them head on. And I think that's important. If we had this experience, is not because we felt totally confident, like nothing's going to happen, and like we're totally capable. That's not it at all. It's that, we do have fears. And when they came up, we faced them. We went to them to see what's the truth, hey, Nicole could die. Yeah, that's true. She could. And this is what you could do, to prevent that. Or what would you do? What would you want to do at this time if that were going to happen? And, so many things. And it makes for such a rich experience. We go deep, and it's hard, and it can get dark, but it also helps us to enjoy it that much more, and to live it that much more profoundly, and even consciously and aware, and not be afraid because we've been there. Yeah, that I just wanted to mention, because that's important. We did have lots of fears, and we talk about it like, hey, but what about this? Or I'm afraid of this. I'm worried about such and such. And then we do, it's bringing us. And how can we care for this? It's helping us be more prepared and connected. Oh, look at this little sweetie. He's so big, guys. Like, had we known, his measurements or whatever before, like, no, I don't think we would have been afraid. But some people are afraid, like, that we're too small. How are we ever going to open that much? Well, how does a penis get to be so big as it gets when it's erect? Like, you think you guys are the only ones who can, like, blow up like a balloon and go back down to a little worm or something? Oh my God, I'm so glad that's in here.
The female body is incredible.
Yeah, like our stomachs, just popping up and then going back down. Balloons, man.
Worms, bro.
So anyways, Well, is there any closing
Love you, Mom.
comments?
Thanks for birthing my worm.
Anyone have any questions, or I don't know, is there anything we want to say before we say goodbye?
Yeah, I guess it was just beautiful. We have a video of the birth and a little video of us cutting the cord as well that our friend Lou was able to take. We're going to put that up on our Patreon later. It's going to be one of the videos that you can watch when you have a subscription to our channel. So we're excited for that. That's another thing that we wanted to share on here. That I think ties in good to what you were saying about that there were fears that we got to express and experience and to move through. And one thing,
stronger because of.
Yeah, one thing that we know and we sometimes try to live by is that to be valiant and brave is not to not experience fear. It's to have the experience of fear and to persevere and go through it anyways. And one of those things that we're doing in our life is we decided to, a few years ago, to not work for money if what we were doing was not something that brought us joy. So we don't want to just have a job because we're going to make money from it, but we want the way that we support ourselves to be something that is in line with what we want to see in the world and what brings our heart joy and makes us sing, something that we can do even if we weren't getting paid, but we know that we want to have lots of money because the things that we do with it are beautiful and they're bringing harmony into the world and they're giving us a beautiful life experience. So one of the ways that we're inviting that into our life is to switch from a lot of our posting on social media to putting it on our Patreon account, which is a crowdfunding site.
It's designed for the creators so that the creators, the artists, the people that have these, accounts can focus more on creating their offerings, on making their music or creating their paintings or whatever it is they do, and being able to share it and people being able to support them. Because why? Because we like,
like speaking of it,
in
the first person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you like what I do anyways, and that's why I'm saying it like in this way. I like to support that person anyways. And so if now I have a way that I can keep on following them and receiving from them while I support them and literally financially make possible that they continue, this is what we want. And we know it's possible. There's so many beautiful examples of people doing impactful things which feel in line with their mission in life, their purpose, their vision, their why they were born. And they get to live off of it. And that's what we think we can do, because we do the most good when we're in that state of inspiration. And anyways, one of the things that we love is writing, and we want to give that more time and write more, because there's so much that we experience, these fears and the things we learn when we face them that are so universal and so many can resonate with. And it's healing for us to read other people open up in that way, and we want to continue to do that ourselves. So we are actually looking for someone, and we have our eye on someone to help us put together videos, because we also have tons of footage and just not the know-how of how to make these super awesome videos. So you'll be able to see on our Patreon page how each different tier, depending on how much you want to support us with, will make available. Exactly, gives you access to these offerings. So the main one, the basic one, you get to access all of our writings and pictures and sharing of experiences. And the other larger tier, you get to see our videos. I don't know them by memory, but you can go and check it out, and we'll share the link. And it would be so nice, so nice to invite you there and have you there also giving us your feedback of what you want to see more of. And it's very exciting for us. We have a lot of projects on the way, and this has been a beautiful space to start putting things, dreams that we have, into practice. And yet we are giving ourselves the challenge of not jumping into it yet, into these projects, because we are taking these 40 days postpartum to just feel and to land
To
from
nest.
the experience and to nest, be together. And we're so grateful because there's so much that comes up with us, with the kids, and
The
to
kids.
be able,
We have kids.
and to be able to give them just like this attention and this priority is so nice, because when they are not the priority, it will happen, it can be stressful.
And it
There's
gets
other things.
stressful.
Yeah.
And it's hard.
But right now we can give them that time and help ourselves to adjust, and there will be time for the stress and dealing with the stress and flowing. So thank you for being here for our story. Thank you for witnessing us. There's so many people with beautiful stories and powerful stories, and we're so excited to see more people birthing in power. And what do we mean by in power? It's just knowing that they have a choice. Whether that's the hospital, you can birth in power in the hospital. You can birth in power in the hospital with a doctor and with an epidural. But it's just, if that was your choice and you feel peace about it and you knew the options and you trust yourself and you don't regret it, like that's birthing in power, and it's such a healing experience. So we're very grateful for this and for you to be here, because there's no sense really in sharing it if you weren't here to receive it. So we also want to put ourselves at your disposition to hear and celebrate with you. If you want to write us and tell us what you're excited about and the ways that you're growing, we want to hear that. And if there's things that you feel discouraged about or lost in and you need support, we also are here for that. And we thank you for being here for us. Yeah. Thank you, baby, for being here for me. You're the best birth team.
You're the bravest. This girl is brave. And tell her something now that she cannot do. Tell us something that we cannot do. Because we've lived through, I don't know, I guess one of the most challenging things
that
we've gone through. And not because it was so difficult, but just because of everything that it implied.
Yeah, and it's not like we beat birth or we beat death. It's just we allowed this greater force to be there, and we know that it supports us. That's why whatever you tell us that we can't do, like, we won't say, yeah, we can, because we have the ability, because we are the. It's because we know that it's not up to us.
Yeah, there's a path.
And we trust it,
I think that's what the hardest thing has been, or not the hardest thing, but the greatest thing has been how our trust and our faith has grown through this experience, and being sometimes surrounded by a sea of doubt can bring a lot of strength to that little seed of faith that just continues on, and it continues to see the light.
And I think it's a challenge also that even when what it is that we experience is not what we foresaw or what we wished for, that we can even in those moments hold on to that faith, knowing that things happen for us. That was something to just really embrace with this birth too. If something happened to me, if something happened to the baby, which was not like the desired outcome, to still, how can we even in those moments hold on to this faith, and knowing that, okay, this is happening for me. Why? Well, the reason may be in the future, but it's for something, Yeah, some moments it's harder than others, but we're still going. So thank you, and we love you. And
we love you guys. And to everyone who sees this video, I also wish for you that maybe you can take a moment when it ends to just go inside and look in a mirror and ask yourself what is something that you really desire, what you feel being called to in your life, and realize that there are fears that are there, and they're there for reasons, and there's also that desire there for a reason.
Yeah.
And that desire might just be strong enough to push those fears out of the way just enough so that you can see the light and go for it.
Yeah, trust that the desire is for a reason. There's a reason you desire that, and it's going to be the best for you and all the world if you go after it. And the doubts, there also can be very valid. And if you go into it, you'll find all the reasons why it can't be. But also look for the evidence of why it can be and how it can be.
And even if as you are walking towards that thing, it seems like you don't see where to step. I want to share with you that I believe that if you're walking in the right direction, that those steps will appear just when your foot needs somewhere to stand on. And you will be supported because this universe is for you, is for me, it's not against me.
And there will always be steps, but it might not be right in front. If you're not meant to keep going in front, it will just appear to the side. So keep looking open with an open perspective, because if we're just looking forward, sometimes we got to take 2 steps backwards, and that's okay. And that's where the steps will be. You know, they're detours in the right direction. Well, that's what we've experienced anyways. We're young. We might change our mind.
We're wrong most of the time.
Yeah, especially about birth dates. But like Steve said, Aaron's dad said, well, they're normally born on their birthday.
Thanks, Dad.
So anyways.
Alrighty, friends and family. We love you.
This has been the story of Calian Oliver Reign. Calian means warrior.
He is a warrior of the life.
Of life, of eternal hope, and
Oliver
and
means,
honor.
And Oliver means lover of nature. And Reign is our desire that these principles of being a warrior of life and hope.
Yeah, and loving and caring for nature will.
That there will be principles that will continue to hold and guide him in his life.
And that he knows that he can reign his own experience, his own life, himself. That's something he taught me, and that's what we wanted to make honor to, that he taught me that I can reign over myself and my life, and that I am a queen.
You are a queen.
And also it's a play on words, because he brought the rain, he brought us to the water. So that's all. That's all there is.
And this is something that we want to do so that we can stay in touch more with you, with our friends and our family. We want to offer on our Patreon to the people who are subscribed to our channel a live video.
Oh, we are offering. There is going to be.
We are offering. It's on there. It's
actually, honey, I have it scheduled for next week that we're going to schedule the next month's live.
Okay.
It's already promised. Yeah.
So get on that Patreon. Check us out. Follow us. There's one for $5 a month. There's one for $10 a month. And with that, you can help us to have the time and focus to be able to create more content, to share things with you. Because there's a lot of stuff happening in our life that we don't get around to actually putting on the internet. So this is also challenging ourselves to be more.
It's our way of committing. Yes.
To be more on it, to be accountable with it, and to share this message that we feel is so valuable.
And it's so nice to see you guys. Good night, like Cosmos' story says. And that's all there is. There isn't any more. Good night, Jordan.
We love you guys. Thank you for watching. Share if you want to.
If you care, share. Bye-bye. Thank you, honey.